Before you fall in love with the idea of living or retiring in Italy, you need to know whether Italy is even legally possible for you. I think a lot of people get this backwards. They choose the region, they choose the town. Sometimes they even find the perfect property before they even understand whether they have a real path to stay there long term. And the answer depends on a few things. Where are you from? Are you an EU citizen? Are you retiring? Are you planning to work? Are you living on passive income? Because depending on your situation, moving to Italy can be relatively straightforward. But on the other hand, it can be much harder than people expect. So in this video, I want to break down the main paths in a simple way. Who can move, who can't, and what people often misunderstand at the beginning. And later on, I will also give you a simple roadmap to relocation, so you can start thinking about this in the right order. If you're seriously thinking about moving to Italy, one of the first things you need to understand is your legal path. So before you build the dream, you need to know what category you fall into and what options may actually be available to you. The good news here is that for most people, the path is simpler than you think. For others, it may take more structure and more care. And that's what this video is about. Before we go any further, I just want to mention something quickly. I think all of us could use some kind of support group to help in this process of moving to Italy. It just makes a huge difference being around people who are already a few steps ahead, or who have gone through parts of the process and can tell you what to watch out for. The mistakes, the surprises, things that are actually harder than they look, and things that can actually be easier if you know where the traps are. And that's one of the reasons I created a new life in Italy. So if you want a bit more support, a bit more guidance, and a place to get help and learn from people who are already in the process, click the link in the description below. Thank you. The first big dividing line is very simple. Are you an EU citizen or not? Because this changes almost everything. If you are an EU citizen, the path is much easier. That's because you already have the right to live in Italy. You still have paperwork, residency questions, tax questions, healthcare questions, but the legal barrier itself is much lower. If you're not an EU citizen, in most cases you will need a specific legal path to live in Italy long term. At the high level, the main ones are these. First, the elective residency visa. This is one of the best known options for people who want to live in Italy long term without working. It is mainly aimed at retirees and financially independent people who can prove stable, substantial passive income long term, like pensions, rentals, investments, annuities, or other established private income. In most cases, you will also need long-term accommodations in Italy, private health insurance, and quite a few supporting financial documents. The exact requirements can vary depending on the specific Italian consulate you apply through. The second is a work-related path. This is a bit harder because it requires having the right employer, situation, or the right legal category. In most cases, much more structure before you actually move. Third is a student visa, pretty much aimed at students. It is a temporary path, not a final solution. Fourth is family reunification or marriage. I don't think there's much to add here. Fifth is citizen by descent if you qualify, and there have been quite a few changes in the past few days pretty much. So for some people this can change everything. Once you are recognized as an Italian citizen, the whole conversation becomes much simpler. And the sixth way is the investor route. Sometimes it's called the golden visa. This is a much more specialized option for people who can qualify through investment rather than retirement, work, study, or family. It is not the typical path for most people watching, but for some people this can be a very serious and real option. If this is something that might interest you and you'd like some more information about this, please contact me directly by email. So before you plan the move itself, you need to know which of those categories, if any, fit your situation. I'm also thinking about doing a whole video about citizen by descent now that the rules changed and there are new things you should know. If it's something that might interest you, let me know in the comments and I'll make sure to create a video focused on this method of moving to Italy. And once people start looking for visa path and legal options, there are a few mistakes that come up again and again. And the reason these matters is because usually they come up before the move, when people are still building the plan in their heads. The first one, and probably the biggest one, is assuming that if you buy property in Italy, this gives you the right to live there. It doesn't. You can buy a house in Italy and still not have the legal path to stay there long term. So property and residency are two separate questions. The second one is assuming that the same number fits all. People hear one number online, maybe from a forum group, from Facebook, from a YouTube video, and they treat it like a universal rule. But as we just talked about, the exact expectations do vary according to the specific consulate. The third mistake is confusing savings with income. Having money in the bank is helpful, having investments is helpful, but for many long-term visa paths, especially something like the elective residency route, what matters most is often whether you can show stable, recurring income and not just a pile of money sitting there. The fourth is assuming that remote work automatically solves everything. A lot of people think I work online so I can just move to Italy and keep doing what I'm doing. But legally that depends on what visa or residency path actually applies to you. So remote work can be part of the picture, but it is not automatically a legal answer by itself. And the fifth mistake is doing the planning in the wrong order. Falling in love with a town, falling in love with a property, building a fantasy budget, and only later asking, do I actually qualify to live here? The better order is exactly the opposite. First, know your legal category. Then understand your income and documentation. Then narrow your regions. Then decide whether you want to rent first or buy first. And only after that, you should start building a lifestyle around it. Because once the legal path is clear, everything else becomes easier to plan realistically. So if you're serious about moving to Italy, I think the easiest way to approach it is on a roadmap. Step 1 is know which category you're in, EU or non-EU, because that changes the path immediately. Step 2, identify the most likely legal route for your situation. Step 3, verify the requirements of your local consulate. Step 4 is start building your document folder early. Income records, tax returns, bank statements, insurance information, birth and marriage certificates if relevant, anything that may later need translation, legalization, or official copies. And step 5, only after that do you start shaping the move itself. Because once the legal foundation is clear, everything else becomes much easier to plan realistically. So can you move to Italy? For a lot of people, yes. But the real answer is it depends on who you are and what legal path actually applies to you. We go much deeper into details in the Italy Relocation Club. The link is in the description. Because once the legal side is clear, everything else becomes much simpler. The region, the budget, the housing, the timeline. That's really the point of this video. Not to make the move harder, but to make sure you build it in the right order. And if you're still here, please let me know in the comments, are you an EU or non-EU citizen? And which path do you think is most likely right for you? Thank you.